Hello, this is Shawn, a digital learning coach for Union County. I'm back here again with my standard-based grading form link up. And what I've done is added a at-risk student, or if you want to call them a reteach or revisit students, and welcome to education, we call everything different things. But these are going to be our kids who we are targeting who didn't meet a specific standard, so they fell short in some form. So here is what I have built, and this is pulling off of that previous form. So if you haven't watched the other videos, I really recommend going back and checking those out. But I've added a standard in for each of my questions, and then I'm piping that into a form, and then that form is pulling out how each student performed on that standard. And then my most recent report was how did the standards look as a whole, and now also I'm looking at what students are scoring as individuals. So in standard 1, GO1, these 3 students fell under 60. Now I made this where we can change that, and that took a little bit of effort to get that to actually work out. But now any student under 70, that's where they're at. Any student under 20, you saw one fall away there. So you can change this number based on whatever your school criteria is. You might be 65 and below is your at-risk population or your revisit population, or it could be 80 and below. So what I want to do now, I'll point out how this is actually scripted out just so you can look at it, but I'm sharing this directly to each person, so you can see it's looking in this cell for that value and anything equal to or less than, and then I put in a little note that that's all you'll have to change. And once again, you might have to mess with the reference. Previously, what I'd have you do is go in and click each of these and say copy to. Now that this is starting to build up a little bit more, you'd have to do that for each one. I'm going to show you a different route you could do. You could still say, I want to copy this to a specific one. But I'm going to, like I said, I'll show you a different means of doing this. So this is what I'll end up sharing out, and it's just the blank template with the tools. And I've added in a shortcut to the playlist, to this playlist to help out. But what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to do File, Make a Copy, and I'm going to pull this back to my linear quiz. So I'm just going to put LQ to help me identify that a little bit better. So I've made a copy of this tool set. And now I'm going to go back to my quiz, and I'm going to tell it, I'm going to click the 3 dots next to the spreadsheet, and I'm going to say Select Destination. And I'm actually going to find that spreadsheet, that LQ standard. Hopefully I can just type in LQ and it's gonna, there we go. It popped up anyways. And so now when I go back to this, you'll see form response has appeared. Now I have noticed it didn't like referencing it right away, so I ended up having to go in and click enter on these a couple of times, and then it eventually did pop up, and hopefully that'll be the case with us. But you see all these are piped in. That first line is still the key, and let me try this. I'm just going to take the one away, and then alright, let's go. For some reason spelling might be a little different. I might have messed something up on that. There we go. I don't know, somewhere I might have had that spelled wrong. So now that's coming in, but you notice my standards haven't reappeared because I don't have those in, and those were MA8.EE and let's say 1. And because I know those are going to be the next 5, I'm just dragging those across and letting it populate, and you see it's carrying through. Now my report response, previously I had you making a copy, so it's looking for a copy of standard. You'll want to change that to just say standard. And I might go back in our little template and get rid of that now that I'm recommending you go in this route. But you see at risk automatically carried through, and these are the risk groups. And so previously I told you, you can take your standards here and group them together. And it's going to pipe that over, and you'll get different graphs. So that's group A's graph, but like I said, you have more than one group in there. So these little reports, these will be handy to identify your kids who are at risk, what standards need to be retaught. I will say that we could look at doing a report per kid and having it where it's just showing the individual kid if you needed to do little printouts for that. But we could just as easily put in filters or something and hide out the kids. But if that's something you're interested in, we can go that. My next goal is actually to take a district-wide assessment that we would share across multiple schools and look at how, if each teacher is administering that, how I can get those reports built out. So that'll be the next goal in this series, is kind of to revamp this for a much bigger scale. Right now this is really designed for 1 or 2 teachers, a teacher and a co-teacher potentially, to look at. But we can expand on this and see what we can get built. If you have any questions, you notice any issues, or you have a tool you wish was built out from this, just let me know, and continue to follow this series, because like I said, I think this is a really handy tool that I like to expand on and make sure we get this down flawlessly. So thank you for your time. Hey, thank you for watching this video. Please click the like button and subscribe so you can stay up to date on any future videos.